If everything in you has gone quiet and grey, and some voice keeps whispering that it's always going to feel like this, I want you to consider this. You're not hopeless. You're in the dark before the dawn. You're standing in the part of the night that comes right before the light. The part that's always the coldest and the most certain. It will never end. Here's the thing about hopelessness. It doesn't just hurt, it lies. It tells you, with total confidence, that the way things feel right now is the way things are going to stay forever. And that's the cruelest part, because it dresses up a feeling as a fact. You're not actually seeing the future when you feel this way. You're feeling the present so loudly that it drowns out any version of tomorrow. I want you to picture the hour before sunrise, not the gentle blue of early morning, but the real pre-dawn. That strange, deep stretch where the night has been going on so long it feels permanent. There's an old saying that it's always darkest just before the dawn, and while astronomers might quibble with the literal physics, anyone who's stayed awake through a hard night knows it's true in the body. The darkness doesn't fade gradually and politely. It holds, and it holds, and it deepens right up until the very edge, and then the light comes anyway. It was always coming. You just couldn't see it from inside the dark. That's closer to what's happening inside you than it feels. The despair isn't proof that nothing is changing. Sometimes it's the opposite. It's the sensation of standing at the lowest point of a curve, where the only direction left is up, but you can't feel the turn yet because you're still at the bottom of it. The bottom always feels like the floor of the world. It almost never is. Let me tell you about someone. I'll call her Nadia. For the better part of a year, Nadia stopped expecting anything good. Her marriage had ended, her work had dried up, and she'd moved into a small flat where she'd sit in the dark some evenings without bothering to turn the lights on. She told me, much later, that she wasn't even sad anymore. She'd gone past sad into something flatter, a kind of grey certainty that this was simply her life now, and it would never lift. What Nadia couldn't see was that she was already turning, not in some dramatic way. There was no single morning where the sun burst in, but the quiet things she kept doing, almost against her will, the walk she took, the one friend she still answered, the small jog she took just to fill the hours. Those were the first pale streaks of light at the edge of her sky. 8 months on, she looked back and realized the worst night of her life had been the threshold of the best chapter. She hadn't been at the end. She'd been at the dawn, mistaking it for the dark. There's real science under this, by the way. Psychologists studying hope and recovery have mapped something often called the J curve, or post-traumatic growth. After a serious loss or collapse, well-being doesn't recover in a straight line. It tends to dip further before it rises, and the eventual rise frequently carries people higher than where they started. Researchers find that a striking share of those who survive their darkest stretch report more meaning, more resilience, more depth afterward than before. The dip isn't the end of the story. Statistically, it's the bottom of the J, right before the climb. So if you're sitting in the dark right now, here are 3 things I want you to hold on to. First, despair is a feeling, not a forecast. It feels like knowledge, like you've finally seen the truth about your life. But hopelessness has never once accurately predicted anyone's future, because it can only see the room you're standing in. It has no window onto tomorrow. Treat it as weather, not prophecy. Second, the darkest stretch is often the closest one to the turn. The bottom of the curve always feels like solid ground. Like this is just where you live now. But a bottom is, by definition, the place the line starts rising again. You don't get to the dawn by skipping the dark. You get there by being in it when it finally breaks. Third, you don't have to feel hopeful to keep moving. That's the trap. Waiting to feel better before you do anything. You won't feel the dawn coming. So you do the small things in the dark anyway. The walk, the call, the next morning. Not because you believe, but because the light has always rewarded the ones who kept walking toward where it would be. So stop treating the dark as a verdict. It was never a sentence handed down about the rest of your life. It was the hour before morning, the one that always feels eternal and never is. The poet Wendell Berry once wrote that to know the dark, you have to go dark and find that the dark, too, blooms and sings. The darkness you're in is not empty. It's already, quietly, beginning to bloom. That's not a feeling to trust. That's an hour to outlast. You were never hopeless. You were just standing in the deepest part of the night, told by your own exhaustion that the sun had forgotten how to rise. It hasn't, so keep your eyes on the edge of the sky. The light is already on its way to you.